Okay, we are up and running. Hi, John. Hi, Mark. Y'all are hearing me good, right? Okay, good. Hi, Ash. Okay, great. I'm seeing C. Will joined. Okay, so C. Will, y'all can go ahead and request to join, and I will accept y'all. Great. It says that you all declined, C. Will. Hi, Tammy. Okay, I'm seeing another request. Okay, great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Okay, great. We seem to be technical.
I'm trying to get my light to work.
Okay. Still seeing a couple of people join. I'll give them a minute or two.
All right.
And let me know when you're ready to start.
I'm ready whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. So my name is Lianna Nedd, and I'll be the host of episode 2, season 3 of our period. So, Jewel, you are the chair of Will Caribbean Women in Leadership. So now I'd like to take the time for you to introduce yourself, what you do, and who you are apart from the organization.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for having me on. It's really nice to meet you virtually as it is. My name is Jewel Greene, and I am the chair of Civil, the Trinidad and Tobago National Chapter, that's Caribbean Women in Leadership. We are a regional organization and we have chapters in 8 or 9 countries right now. I'm saying all because we're in the process of forming another one, right? So really what we are doing is what a lot of persons are doing, looking to ensure that we have a more gender equal Trinidad and Tobago. However, what we're doing that we think is unique, and a lot of people are seeing as well, is that we're looking at gender equality through the perspective, or from the perspective of leadership for women. So we're looking at how many women are in leadership, not just in business, but also in politics, because we know that's where the decisions, the policy, the laws are being made. And we want to make sure that they're gender responsive, the budgeting, right? We want to make sure we have women in finance, women in the Ministry of Finance, women in business. We want to make sure we will have women in every ministry that is represented in the Parliament, as well as in the upper and lower house, because we know that there are a lot of women in the population. We are almost 50-50, if not more, right? In terms of our ratio, male and female. And we want to make sure that women are well represented in spaces where decisions are being made, so that we can be heard and our voices and our concerns will be represented in the laws, policies, the business that is being done, inventions that are being made, funding that is needed to be had, loans for businesses. We want to make sure that women get the fair share, not just for a gender equal Trinidad and Tobago, but also for places of leadership, right? I am, apart from Cyril, in a number of other activities, right? So I'll just go through them really quickly. I'm also the president of the Tobago Writers Guild. I have a real love and passion for writing, reading, not just literacy, but for books. I love books, right? I am in the process of writing my own book. And I'm the president of the guild, that's the Tobago Writers Guild, and we are an organization that is really focused on nurturing and helping other authors with their material, getting from just being a writer, whether you're doing paper and pen, or whether you're doing on computer, but to get to that authorship space where your book is actually published, right? So that's what we're doing here in Tobago, and it's open to all persons from Tobago and the diaspora as well. I'm also the treasurer, acting treasurer for the Tobago Pride Association. We're affiliated with the Trinidad Pride Association, and we started an association here. I am the treasurer, but I'm also part of that organization as an ally, because just like equality, that I believe the need for equality for women, I also believe that there is a need for equity and equality for the LGBTQIA community. I believe that everybody needs to have an equal space, and that's what we're looking to make sure in Tobago, that the LGBT community is well represented and their concerns, needs are met and addressed here in Tobago, just as they're being met and addressed in Trinidad and across the Caribbean. Apart from that, I also have a company called Caribbean Social Media Quarter, and we do digital marketing for small, medium-sized entities as well as NGOs. And we're really focused on authors. So I do a lot of book marketing, helping authors understand how to market their book and their book products and all of that. So there's a lot going on. It's not just with me, but across the board in Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of countries I'm really associated with quite a lot of stuff. But that's the nature of passion. You find your hands in a lot of pies. Yeah.
Yes, I love to hear that you are so multifaceted and diverse with what you do. So, in today's episode, we will be focused on the importance of advocating for menstrual equity for all. So I'm going to present to you a series of questions and we will discuss. So my first question to you is, what does having a safe menstrual cycle mean to you?
When I first heard about safe menstrual cycle, it took me back to when I was a teenager. I grew up in a household with all girls. It was just my dad, the guy in the house, but you know, it was the three of us girls and mommy. And I didn't. We had a period conversation, but it wasn't. I guess it didn't really stick with me. I heard about it, you know, peripherally when she was talking. You know, I heard pads, I heard pant shoes. It kind of flew past my head, and we never really kind of revisited that. And I remember when I did have my period, I was looking forward to it, but when I did have it, I didn't know. I felt very ill that day, and I didn't know what it was. I was not prepared, like many of us girls. Um, we may have a conversation, but you know, the onset of your period is nothing that you can plan. And when it started for me, it was something very sudden. And so I thought I had appendicitis. I thought I was going to die, right? And they called my mother. You know, Jewel is not feeling well. It's, you know, it's continuing. And she came and she got me, took me home, and on the day cold, it was, you know, my period. But I had her to lean on, and as I was going through the period, because I didn't quite understand issues of flow, issues of, you know, your flow would change from time to time. It would get heavy, it would get light. You know, there was different types of sanitary napkins to use. These are conversations that we don't usually have in Caribbean households. We didn't have it in mind, and my mother was very hands-on. But we didn't have those conversations about the flow, and you know, you might have accidents. What to do if you do have an accident? You know, and I went to an all-girls school. I didn't even know in an all-girls school if I had an accident, who I could go to, who, you know, what would be the procedure? Who has the pads, right? If it comes and you're suddenly taken, you know, how do you access help and who can help you? We didn't have the issue of period shaming, but of course, you know, when you have an accident, whether it's period or not, you do feel, you know, a level of uncertainty as a young girl. So when I hear safe period, I go back to my experience. Even though I had access to pads, it was not something that, you know, we would bulk buy and just have. So it always was, you know, a bit of anxiety in terms of I have to go to the supermarket, I have to go and get the supplies, and who going quick, mommy going quick, because I don't know to get I don't know, you know, I don't know which one to get, and I don't people see me getting pads. Like, I don't, yeah, I don't know what to know about, and I don't like how it feels, you know. So for me, it is having that conversation. That's what it means for me, having a conversation, and having a woman, a girl, a young girl, feel confident and understand that this is not just normal, but this is something you'll have to handle for the rest of your life, right, until possibly menopause. And you don't want to have a lifetime of shame and problems with it. Let's get comfortable early because this is not going away, right? So for me, that's what it means. It means some confidence, some security, conversation, knowledge.
Yes, from that, I've gathered that we talk about the intricacies of the period and the different
Mhm.
aspects of it that a lot of the time is not talked about. Comfortability,
Mhm.
shame, education, access to education about it. Because what happens is the people that take care of us would have grown up did not also have that education. So the lack of
Mhm.
education is passed down. And this is why we need to speak about these topics so that further generations can be more knowledgeable than we are. So thank you
Yes.
for that, and thank you for discussing your upbringing and how it would have affected you. So our next menstruation, and this ties directly into what you would have just said.
Yeah, it just froze, so I think I missed the question.
Oh, okay. No. So my question was, why is it important that we create safe spaces for conversations about menstruation? And this ties directly into what you would have said about not having these important conversations.
Mhm. I think it's important. I know it's important. It's just not it's not a personal belief of mine. You know, we usually say, I think, I believe. No, I know. I know it's important. It's important because this is part of our life as a woman. Not all women have periods, right? But the majority of us are going to have it. And we will have to deal with it for a number of years, many, many years. I mean, from teenage years to well into your 50s, 60s. Some people, some they have documented into their 70s. That's a lot of years to not be conscious, to not be going through life in a conscious way about how you navigate something that's happening to you on a monthly basis. This is 12 occasions of the year, right? And we all know as people who are having menstrual period, that it is really not just a snapshot of a period of the month, It really is, let's be honest, it's really your whole month, it's your whole life, right? It really determines sometimes what you need to eat, what you shouldn't eat, what you can't eat if your period coming, what you can't eat if your period going, if you can't eat, what you can't eat, period, because everybody has some sensitivities, things that make your period worse. What type of sanitary napkins are available? Even conversations about is what is available, what is enough? Is it enough? It's what is on the market, what you need. Because, we're not having those conversations. We're just taking it for granted that what's on the shelf is it. That's all we should be looking at. We shouldn't be looking at other options, or, don't bother to think about it. So when we talk about, whether it is necessary to have conversations, I mean, how could we not have a conversation about something that is, really taking a lot of time out of our lives, and not just, stopping you from doing things. Because remember, periods are something that are hormonal. It's based on your hormone levels. And if your hormone levels change, so does your period. If things in your body change, whether you are consuming things that are making your body alkaline or acidic, it can also change the pH of your body, the pH of your, and therefore smells, right? We don't want to talk about that, right? But as women, we know what we're dealing with. And, as young women are coming up, they don't know. Somebody has to tell them. So it is extremely necessary. We can't continue to go the way we've been going of not having conversations. We can't afford to, right? People are messing up their whole menstrual cycle, their whole body systems, their pH, their hormone levels and balances, because we don't know, because we're not having conversations. We're not even taught to start checking our hormone levels, during our period, during our life. They tell you about pap smears, they tell you about all sorts of exams, but they don't talk about checking your hormone levels. It's a big conversation, but it's a conversation that is very, very needed.
Yes. And I'm glad you would have mentioned how isolating the menstrual cycle is, treating that it's one time of the month and one period of time, when actually it can be affecting people the entire month, because it's different phases, it's different, people are being affected by it differently. So I totally agree that we need to be all encompassing, and that we need to focus on the entire way that it can affect someone and their life, because as you said, it's a large chunk of our life, the majority of somebody's lifestyle. And as such, these conversations are critical to women and anybody who menstruates.
Yeah. And I just want to jump in before we continue. And I did not mention diet, right? As a woman, I did say things you eat, but it sounds like if it's a one-off. Don't eat too much chocolate. Don't eat too much cheese. But it really comes down to your entire diet, right? Making sure you have a balanced diet. And when we start to talk about period poverty, we have to address poverty. Is a woman or a girl getting enough to eat? That can also affect your period. It can affect how your period affects you, right? And vice versa, how you feel about your period, how you are able to take care of yourself. So it's not just a period conversation. It's literally all encompassing. whether you're able to take care of yourself, whether your parents are able to take care of you, whether the foods that you have in your home are whole foods, whether they're real foods. Are we going to have those conversations as well about the foods we buy in the supermarket? If they're real, if they're not real, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I keep saying it's a lot just for us to make sure that we understand how much we have to talk about this and how important it is. But once we start to talk about it, it is a beautiful conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's really empowering. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. So our next question is, what is C doing to promote safe menstrual cycles for all?
Well, and you said Civil, right? What is Civil doing?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Right. So as I said, what Civil is about gender equality, but we focus on leadership, women's leadership, whether they are able to lead. So in my view, we are taking care of all of those things by taking care of the main question. Are women able to be in spaces where they can make decisions, make policies, make laws? Because once they're there and able to make laws and policies that affect us, that's taking care of us, right? You have somebody now who is in the parliament, who is in a business, who owns a supermarket, who owns a conglomerate, who owns a hardware, who owns all these spaces and places where they are in these, they're in a space, a position of authority to make decisions that are affecting other women. And that's what Cyril is doing. So we are not directly dealing with period poverty, but like I'm here today and we're able to have this partnership and this conversation about what it's about, right? We're able to bring these conversations into our Civil TT spaces and hear what women are dealing with, even in Civil TT, even when we're dealing with leadership. Just because you're a woman in leadership doesn't mean your period goes away. Now you have to deal with even bigger issues. You're sitting in a board meeting and let's be blunt, you have something comes out, you have an accident as a big woman in a CEO, space in a board meeting. How are we dealing with these things? So I will say Civil is dealing and is making sure that we have women who can make sure that the response, the agendas, the policies, the laws are responsive to us women. So that's how we're making sure, we put our elbows to the wheel, we put our hands to the wheel with you when we're dealing with these issues.
Yes, and as you would have mentioned, first began that you all want equity leadership positions. That means that there are more voices for the disproportionate amount of women in these spaces will actually help us address these issues and help advocate for issues such as these. Similar to what Ashley would have said in the comment.
Yes, exactly.
So the next part, I'm going to prompt some information to you, and then I'll have to answer the question.
Sure.
So, the Safe Cycle project is geared towards ending period poverty, like you would have mentioned, promoting menstrual equity, and seeking adequate services for people who menstruate and come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds in Trinidad and Tobago. As period poverty is rampant and a prominent issue that exists in the Caribbean, the project aims to advocate for the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services through providing useful and accurate data that assesses the rates of period poverty in TNT, as well as promoting the need for a comprehensive sexuality curriculum to teach people who menstruate and their families about maintaining a safe menstrual cycle, with reference to the recommendations within the report, such as state actors and civil society organizations working in tandem to bring about purposeful results, engaging men and boys in menstrual education while simultaneously acknowledging the part that they play in further perpetuating harmful stigmas, as well as educating people who menstruate, including those around them, to reduce stigma, debunk myths, and increase overall access to period products. Safe Cycle Caribbean has established a total of 11 care banks, which would not have been possible without our active and dedicated community leaders and the support from communities themselves. So, Jewel, I pose this question to you. What more can be done to ensure people who menstruate are able to have safe menstrual cycles?
Well, let me tell you, I got your Safe Cycle report,
Mm-hmm.
right? You read it. I loved it. I think, especially the 10 recommendations. I I want to join with you all in making sure that these 10 recommendations don't stay recommendations, but that they implement,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, those are some of the things I think, because you all hit the nail on the head with those things, right? You all did a study and came up with these recommendations, and I don't think they should just be passed off as if somebody wrote a report. They are meaningful, and I like that we, in the report, in one of the recommendations, especially in the Safe Cycle report, it talked about including men and boys in the conversation. And it's one of the things that I think we don't understand the importance of as much as we should, right? We do understand how important it is, but it is so important in understanding that allyship, right? Bringing others along the journey is so important, because you cannot have a solution for a group of persons without the entire population, because they're not the us women are not the ones who usually shame each other when we have our periods, right? Us women understand a lot of what other women are going through. Even if you yourself have not had difficult periods, you know some woman who has gone through some difficulty. You know some woman who has had some issues and problems. And I understand very, very clearly when we have men who don't participate in our journey as women, our feminine journey, we will have them always on the sidelines, not understanding what support we need. So I think when we have these conversations, yes, we want to have it in some privacy to talk about certain things that, we want to talk about among ourselves, as girls, girl chat. But we also need to have those very open public conversations, because to remove the stigma is to air something out. We want to make sure that it is, we take off the cover off of this container, off of this taboo subject, and we let the sun get on it, right? We want to make sure air and breeze get on this thing. So it must be put in a public space. And for it to be put in a public space is the only way. And therefore, we have to bring our men and our boys, they have to be part of the conversation. They have to be not just part of the conversation, but we have to bring them into our issues, right? You have men in your life, you have boys in your life, whether it's a brother, a father, an uncle, a nephew, your own children. Bring them into the conversation, bring them into what's happening. Let them know. They will also have wives, girlfriends who will need their support, and they need to understand how to provide that support. They need to understand what that support needs to look like. So that was the recommendation, to be honest. I mean, you all had some really good ones, but that one really hits home for me, to make sure that we have allies in our quest for, to end gender poverty, because gender poverty is where it is today in Trinidad and Tobago, because we don't have all of society understanding what we need, why we need it, what's happening with us, right? Some of the issues that are affecting us in terms of our periods, what type of pads we need. Sometimes you're accustomed buying one type, what type of pad, and you need another type this month, right? You need something more heavy duty, right? You need something with, some construction background. And, it is nice to be able to say, okay, I'm not able right now to go to the supermarket or to go to the pharmacy to pick up my supplies, whether they're pads, painkillers, whatever, your comfort food. And you can say it to a husband, you can say it to a brother, you can say it to a boyfriend, you can say it to a cousin, uncle, you know, can you get these for me? And they don't go,
Mm.
me? I have, you telling me to buy pants, girl? I don't buy them thing. That woman thing. No, we don't want to have those kind of uneducated responses from our men in our lives. We want when we hand them, you know, a list and it has pants on it. They're like, oh, but you didn't tell me what kind. You didn't tell me what brand. You didn't tell me what size. Should I go to the pharmacy to get it or the supermarket? You know, you didn't give me the exact details and specifications. You know what to get. You need the heavy ones. Buy 2 packs. What to buy? You need, you know, you want them to be like that. You want them to be by the cashier, just cashier normally. You know, not hurry up and put that in front now, gosh. Wait, put that inside the grocery store. You know, oh gosh, you're putting a panty with people things. Oh gosh, you know, this kind of way. You want to feel comfortable. You want to feel that this is normal, you know, and that would be one of my recommendations that I think, you know, get men involved, get them involved, get them involved, get them involved. And I'm seeing Ashley saying, you know, not because women, more women are in leadership doesn't mean that they'll automatically champion these issues. Of course not. Of course not. That's not the assumption at all. But when we have them there, now we can put the issues to them. Now we can hold their feet to the fire and say, we've put you there to represent us. We want to hear you. We want to see what you're doing. We want to follow you. We want to make sure that you're doing what we put you there to do. So, you know, yes, we support women in leadership. Yes, we want to monitor how many women are in leadership, but we also have to do our part with all politicians and make sure that we keep at them, make sure they're on the goal, make sure they're on topic to keep these issues ahead. And that's what these NGOs are for. That's what we're here for, to make sure that these issues don't get dropped to the side because, you know, it's not comfortable for them, right? To make sure that they keep at it. That's why we're here.
To touch on one of the things you would have said, if these conversations are only spoken within people who menstruate, within people who go through these things, we will never reach to a place where we can all destigmatize this. And I would like whoever is listening to this live to work in your own little way to destigmatize this. As in, you have a partner, you're on your period, involve them in what is going on. Don't hide it away because, like you would have said, put that to the front of the cashier, put that in the front, let me hurry up and get this over with. No. In your own way, involve the people in your lives who are not climatized to these things. Be the change that you would want to see. As well as, yes, we need to hold our leaders accountable. We need to hold women and anybody accountable in these spaces of. So thanks. So to touch on leadership again, how can women in Parliament rally around ending period poverty?
That's an easy question. They started by removing VAT from sanitary pads, from small sanitary. I don't even want to say just pads because we know it, you know, period requires and body clothes require more than just pads. So they've removed VAT from these products. Tampons, pads, panty shields, you know, different products that you may need. We also need to start removing VAT from those products that support a good and healthy period, from those products that help support a woman. So when we bleed, sometimes we go into anemic states. We have anemia. Why aren't those drugs that we need to support us, why aren't they VAT-free, right? Why aren't they zero rated? Because I mean, you really can't function if you're anemic, right? I had a situation, just using myself as an example, I had a situation where my blood count went very, very low. I had a heavy period, my blood count went very low. I didn't know what was going on, but I literally felt like I was going to die. And lo and behold, I was told, you have a very low blood count. They put me on these tablets. I think it was Strigemic at the time. And when I went to the pharmacy to buy the Strigemic, I said, how am I supposed to be paying for this on a regular basis? Like, with what? I was a student at the time. I said, well, these people have to be kidding me. I cannot afford to keep buying this on my little student budget. So I have to go back to my mother and my father to get more money. I mean, where I getting this money from to keep buying? So when we talk about all those things, we have to look at the holistic nature of this thing. We don't just need sanitary napkins and pants. We need proper whole food to eat. We need proper medication and even homeopathic medication, warm water bottles, a castor oil rub, a vaginal steam they're doing. No, you don't have to believe and use all of these things. But I'm simply saying, should you as a person who menstruates need relief through these things, it should not cost you an arm and a leg. Should you be anemic, it should not cost you an arm and a leg to sustain your life. Right? It really shouldn't. And that's what I think. I think women in parliament should be looking at making sure that what is being imported for us to use is of good quality, making sure that the taxes and VAT on the items that we need to support, they're zero rated, making sure that they're accessible. And some would even say women need to rally around the issue of even making sure that sanitary napkins are free, right? Why should we be punished? Why should we have to pay for something that is a bodily function, right? And why not? Why isn't this something that is an option for us? You shouldn't have to pay for it. You can just go pick them up wherever you need, whenever you need. And take care of yourself, right? What is the issue exactly? We're paying taxes. So we have to start to have these conversations, not about just what women can, in parliament can do, but what do we want? What do we need, right? What support do we need? That's some of the conversations we need to be having in terms of medical treatment, right? Fibroids have now become an issue. Cysts, intrauterine cysts are now an issue. The cost for surgeries for these things are astronomical. It is almost tantamount to if you had cancer, right? And we know, how many people have seen a fundraiser for fibroid surgery? I never have. I've never heard about it. But some of these surgeries and the persons who need these surgeries can't afford it. And they're wondering, how am I going to pay for this? And it is what we call an elective surgery, meaning that if you don't need it, they're not going to put you on the top of the list as a priority, right? So these are some of the issues we need help care for women around issues concerning period, around issues concerning reproductive health, around issues concerning support for good health. We don't want to only have to deal with our bodies when or if we fall into problems. How about proactive health? How about dealing with it before it becomes a problem? How about having and I want to put in a plug for the health services during the month of March. They did in Tobago, because that's where I am. I'm in beautiful Tobago. And they had it in Tobago, and I think they had it across the island, different health services. You could go in, get free pap smears, get free vaccinations, and I believe they do it from time to time. So I got an HPV vaccine, which is the human papilloma vaccine, when I went to a workshop. It was one of the vaccines they were offering free of charge, right then and there. So all I'm saying is that I know that while I'm saying what we need, I'm also aware that there are things being done, right? There are places you can go to, health centers you can go to have these conversations about your female reproduction, about what's happening with you reproductively, family planning. There's a pink room here in Tobago in terms of women's since they're looking to come up with the blue room for the men. But all I'm saying is that it's moving too slowly. it's not enough, right? And it's not reaching persons who need it the
Mm.
most, right? Because some of the, and maybe they need to even look at making sure we have mobile services. Because we all know that if you don't have money to travel, you can't get to some of these places. You may have to walk to these places. And as I said, if you're already anemic, your blood count low, you're weak, you're tired, you're hungry, you're not feeling well, it is not an easy job to have to go walking to these spaces. Some of them are far if you're living in if you're living in rural areas. So what we need to make sure is that we are looking at the demographics. Where are the women who are in lower socioeconomic statuses, where are they located, and provide help in those areas. So those are some of the issues women in parliament can rally around. Those are some of the things, policies they can put in place, right? Our councillors, our local and our local representatives, our MPs, our women in parliament, women in leadership, when we put them there, those are some of the issues they can rally around. I mean, there's no end to this list, really. You know, Liliana, you know, they can just pull on the list and keep picking, keep picking, keep picking. It just is endless. Yeah, so when you ask what they can rally around, what can't they rally around when it comes to women's health, and the period poverty? You know, what can't they? It's a long list.
As you would have mentioned, how encompassing a menstruation cycle is and the things that go into it, I think what can be done as well is pay attention to those who suffer more disproportionately. For example, people in rural areas, persons who have conditions such as extreme pain, who may not have access, like you said, to these procedures that are costing an arm and a leg. So, yes, some persons have their menstrual cycle, they slap on a pad, they go around their day, pop a painkiller, but some people suffer. Some people experience this pain, experience whatever condition, and there isn't much they can do about it. They feel helpless. So, these are definitely things that we can do to rally around period poverty as well. Because the persons who cannot afford, they just sit and suffer, they just sit and do nothing. So, yes, I would have agreed with what you said, of course. So, my last question to you is words of advice for persons to persons who menstruate, words of encouragement, words of inspiration to them.
Oh boy, yeah. Being a woman or a girl or a person who menstruates, right, is not as easy as it is, shown to be on TV, right? We see ads where women jump up and they slap on a pad and they go on play sports and yeah, and they out and about because nothing can stop you. You're an empowered woman and you can do it all. I want to say, if you're one of those persons who is having a difficult time, for whatever reason, whether it's period poverty is affecting you, whether it's a health issue that's affecting you, nothing is wrong with you. Not only nothing is wrong with you, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
We have many, many women all over the globe who experience different levels of, issues with period, from no issue to, to the just you have a period and you want somebody to knock you out. It feels so bad, like
Yes.
put me out of my misery. I can't take it anymore, right? Crippling pain. And these are some of the issues. We feel alone because we're not having any conversations. We're not even telling our sisters. We're not even telling our girlfriends. We're not even telling, our friends what's happening sometimes because it's ongoing. Oh gosh, I'm fed up talking about it. It's not fixing. It's just every month is the same thing. I would say to you that you're not alone. Get to a group. Find a friend. Find a girlfriend. Find a lady. Find a woman. if you're in a church group, a woman's group, an NGO, wherever, talk to somebody. It's hard when you don't talk to people. So that's what I would say. Talk to somebody if you're experiencing some problems, because you don't always know all the solutions. There are solutions out there. And perhaps if you were to open up yourself to share it with someone, you would hear of something that might work for you. So that would be my comfort to tell women who are going through that, persons who are going through, who menstruate, who may be going through some hard times. You're not alone. It can get better if you look for the help, if you just let people in, if you allow someone to help you. And for those who are not having any issues, who are having a beautiful period, right, as it was meant to be, who are enjoying life like the ad on TV, they're getting up and like, yeah, period, I have a period, yeah. Put on a pad and they run outside and they're on the beach and they're running around and playing volleyball and yes, right? No body issues, not 1 month your tummy all out here and the next month you're looking like a supermodel, right? We want to tell you, you're not having any issues. Remember your sisters. Remember your sisters who are going through it. Remember they need your support and they need your help. I'll tell you one story that really touched me. Something that happened to me personally, not an anecdote I heard from somebody else. So I was in Barbados. I was there by myself, meaning I wasn't there with my family. I was living there for a number of years. I was in a job that was kind of stressful. I was a corporate accountant at the time, and I had an accident at work. And like I don't know how other women feel when they have accidents, but this wasn't a little accident. Sometimes you have a little accident, you're like, shoot. This was one of those accidents like, Jesus Christ, have His mercy, how I get out of it. Right? This was one of those. And apologies to those who are offended by my use of Jesus Christ, but that's what happened in my brain, right? I saw the atomic bomb go off, and I was like, end of life, that's it, because it was everywhere. And I got up to check when I thought nobody was looking, and a lady saw, when I got the gun, she saw what had happened, and she ran over, and she came, she said, take my sweater, go in the bathroom, I'll sort it out. And I was like, what she mean she gonna sort it out? How she fixing that? Right? So I was like, you sure? She was like, no, go quick, don't let it set. And so I got up, I went to the bathroom, I took my handbag with my stuff in it, I went to the bathroom, and I started to try to clean up myself. Obviously, I knew I had to go home, but as I said, it was an accident of epic proportion. So you know what I mean. I had been sitting on the people's office chair. And I said to myself, my God, this woman is going to look at me funny after this. She's just going to be like grossed out. And I went back to the office. I went back to get the things and to explain that I had to leave. I don't know what she did. Everything had been fixed. Like nothing had happened, right? She never looked at me weird. She never said anything. She never mentioned it. She simply said, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. These things have happened. Go and sort out yourself. She was a little older than I was, and she nearly made me cry, break down in that place, because I was like, the level of support that I got, the level of acceptance that I got, it just felt so incredible that I looked at myself, I looked at the other women, I looked at my situation just completely differently. She didn't think anything was bad or shameful about me having an accident. She didn't think anything was off, like, you should know better. You should be monitoring yourself. How could you let yourself have this kind of accident when you're at work? She never said a word, and that's what I would say. If you're never having any issues, when you see a woman having an issue, and this is for men too, don't shame, don't laugh. Don't make us feel any worse than we already sometimes feel. And for those who don't feel bad, power to you. Keep it up. confidence is what we all need. We all have been socialized in this way to feel sad, tremulous, scared, ready to cry sometimes when we have these issues, right? And it's so helpful when you have somebody sitting next to you who is not going to get up as you get up and try to sort out yourself. Well, God, who is that? Right? Once she, Jesus, angels, these women, you don't say anything. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything. If you don't have a good word of support, just be quiet. We don't need you to say anything. If you can't help, don't say anything. But what you can do, I would advise, if you don't know what to do, turn to another woman and say, I think she may need some help, right? I think, this young lady or this old lady or this mature, whoever it is, this woman who's having periods, this person who's menstruating, I think this person needs some help. Can you help them, right? If it's not you, ask, right? And I also say, carry an extra. If you don't experience period poverty, put extras in your bag. Put an extra panty shoe, an extra pad in your bag, an extra tampon in your bag, because somebody somewhere along the line need it, right? And for me, the worst feeling is knowing a woman needs your help, and all you could say is, I can't help you, I don't have anything. I wish I had. I mean, I don't want us to get into this God complex where we're trying to save the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you could, if you have some extra food, you're never having any problems, everything good. Even the ones who are not going through period poverty, remember your sisters who may be going through it, right? Keep your eyes open, keep your ears peeled. But if somebody may be in distress, if you can, be there for them. Be a good sister. And so when we talk about sisterliness, I want to say that is more needed. We need more of that. We need sisterliness, understanding, right? We need brotherliness. We need some understanding, some support, right? We need people who can hold us up. I want to, before we close off, I want to say, I'm married. My husband is extremely supportive. I send him to the supermarket. Not regularly, but if I need it, and I don't even qualify it. Whenever he's going to the supermarket, if I need it, I put it on the list. So I tell him, I give him, a picture of the pack and I say, get that one. And he say, he jokes and he thinks, you think I'm a cookie? I'm not all that. But he goes, this kind of way. He's just joking, but he's so supportive, And when I say so supportive, like, it's not like if I'm giving him a gold medal for his support, because I think that's how it's supposed to be, right? But everybody should be supportive to help you if you're having an issue, right? And I just want to say, publicly, I'm very happy to have somebody like that in my life, and I'm very happy to be associated, not just with him, but with the men in my life who I have found have been so understanding. And there's nothing. You walk pants. We're ashamed to say. We need panty shoes. We have to need period. There's nothing. We get on floor. I will get it. You want people who like that, and I'm happy to say I'm associated with. I'm surrounded by people who support me as a person who menstruates, right? And I want to say that I am somebody who supports other people who menstruate. I listen, I try to be there, and if I can, I offer help. I want to say that, it's something we all can do.
In a society where we are condemned for not having it together, although we experience this every month, and so many years now you have this, it's still this, still that. I love that you touched on that, because our emotions are out of whack, our bodies are out of whack, and we're not always going to have it together. So we need to normalize that things happen, and we may need comfort sometimes. We're not going to always be strong and have everything we need. It's going to come unexpected. We have apps to track it, and sometimes them make it go to app. I come in when I come in. And I love that point out the support that you have, because although it's normalized and bare minimum, Men are conditioned to not support this. Men are conditioned to turn the blind eye. So the men that are not conditioned this way should be applauded and should be encouraged
Yeah.
in you doing so. So I love that you would have mentioned that. So I thank you for being here with me on this live, and I thank all the viewers who will be watching now and watching later. Before we close off, is there anything that you would like to share with the live?
Well, I want to say thank you to FeminiTT, the Safe Cycle, for having me on. When I saw that this is what you all were doing, I said, Jewel, this is so fantastic. You have to get on there. You have to get on there to join your voice with them as, part of Sewell, as part of Tobago Writers Guild, because we have writers who include all of these little nuances in their writing, right? You're writing a story, and it is when we have these conversations that may seem to come out of the blue as a writer, we weave all these little personal details into our story to make them not just personable, but to make them relatable, right? And when we keep writing about it, when we keep talking about it, when we keep these things in the public eye, we keep these issues alive for those sisters who may be going through it. For us who are going through it, as a way to help us, it's very cathartic. So I want to say thanks. I want to say thanks for the work that you all are doing, for the team that you all have behind you doing the work that you're doing. I exactly applaud you all because it's meaningful work. It's really necessary, and I feel you all are doing such a fantastic job at FeminiTT and Safe Cycle. This show, this live, it's very, very needed to keep the issues in public space. And I want to encourage all of Sewell, right, even across the region, to get into all aspects of gender equality, whether it is to end the period poverty or some other issue, to always be on the lookout for things that are going to affect us as women, affect us being in leadership, affect us having, being able to function properly in leadership. And I want to also say, women, don't let your representatives, your politicians, your leaders, whether they're in a school, whether they're in parliament, whether they're in business, don't let them off the hook, right? Make sure that you keep on them for the things that matter to you, for the things that matter to us. Don't stop speaking about it. Don't stop talking about it. And don't let anybody shame you into silence, right? They like to say things like, oh, you're always talking. Oh, gosh. Yes, I'm always talking. They have something to talk about, right? So, yes, I'm always talking. So I would say don't ever be shamed. Don't let them shame you into silence. Don't let them shut you up. Don't let them shut you down. Whether it's another sister, a brother, whoever it might be. Keep those issues that you know are going to speak for the generations coming and are going to help your sisters and you right now. Keep those issues burning. Keep the fires burning for gender equality. Keep the fires burning for equity. Keep the fires burning, FeminiTT, for ending period poverty. We're in this together. It's not a one-man show. It's not a one NGO show. It is really a community we're building. Each cog in the wheel is taking care of something. And when we can put our voices together, we're going to do it. So thank you for having me.
Of course. I feel like this was very successful. I had a pleasure speaking to you and discussing these things. So yes, you can look up for the live to be posted and we can go from there.
Wonderful.
Okay. Bye-bye.
This was such a good session. Bye.
I'll let you be.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, great. So thank you for everybody who's watching. Thank you for everybody who's gonna watch it when we post it. Don't forget to follow Safe Cycle. Don't forget to follow Sewell. Don't forget to follow FeminiTT. And I hope everybody enjoyed the live. Bye-bye.